Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to answer the question which Purrely variant is the better one. If you're not aware, there are basically two main variants here. The funny thing is, as you can see right here, there is a version which uses Grapha, and then there's a version which also uses sprite cards. The funny thing is that the version that we are going to talk about, the version with the Ghostrick stuff, this isn't even registered here as a second engine. This is what this tells us, considered to be normal in any Purrely deck, which if you're not aware, just as an example, this is a smaller package here, but you can go play the Ghostrick shot, a spell card here, and then you would add to your extra deck a Ghostrick, a Dullahan, to a Ghostrick, Angel of Mischief, and then the number F0 Utopic Draco Future package, which the idea is if you can, or if you have any two level 1 Purrelys left, that you can via Dullahan climb up into Utopic Draco Future, which then obviously the Utopic Draco Future, we can quickly check this guy out and read him. You can also XYZ summon this guy by using number F10 or your Utopic Future you control. So this guy as material, which you are going to make before, obviously. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. This is very nice. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach raw material from this card and negate the activation then, if that monster is on the field, gain control of it. So a very strong card here, kind of a boss towers monster with 3000 attack that cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So quite hard to out here, and also has a monster negate life. So this is obviously really nice, and this came up in the Duelist Cup, where supposedly people were playing this to also finish the game a bit faster, because obviously in Duelist Cup you want to get in a lot of games, so to climb up very fast, and Purrely definitely has the problem that it's more of a stop your opponent deck in terms of cost them resource and then finish the game on later turns. So if you establish a big X Purrely Noir, obviously that's quite nice, and you can spin back a card of your opponent's, but your opponent can definitely grind the game along, especially if your X Purrely Noir goes back to the extra deck on the end of the next turn because you have made it with the trap card. So this is definitely something that can lead to quite a few long games, which you don't want to do in the Duelist Cup. So this is why people are playing this, and obviously also because this is a quite a strong engine. The first thing to be said here is that it's also a very expensive engine. As you can see here, you might already have Utopic Draco Future, because this is somewhat of a staple card, you could say, but most people will probably not have the Ghostrick engine, consisting of 3 ultra rares that you have to play here at least, and that is obviously quite expensive, with the Purrely deck in general not being that expensive. And here to the left, to the right, we can see a different version. This is considered to be the pure version, which, as you can see right here, there is no Ghostrick stuff in here, and you are just going for the X Purrely Noir. So in terms of what deck is cheaper, obviously the cheaper version is the pure version, but then there's also the Ghostrick version, which is a bit more expensive. But the question remains, which one is stronger? And you can see right here, you can also play a bit more stuff in here, like the Ghostrick trap card, which I think if you go for a bigger Ghostrick package, then it's quite nice. It makes sense to also play a few Dark World cards, because then you want to go for a lot of in-hand cards. Because what you have to understand here with the Ghostrick package of Purrely is that in order to really play this successfully, you need 2 additional cats that you don't need for anything else, right? So in a normal game, you would not only want to summon Utopic Draco Future, but you also want to summon X Purrely Noir, right? So the thing is that obviously for your X Purrely Noir, you are most likely going to use your Purrely, right? Purrely, and then Sleepy Memory into your E Purrely Noir, and then into your X Purrely Noir. And then you want 2 additional ones, most likely, if you can get it, the Purrely, 2 times the Purrely that you still have on the field. And you can see there are other cards in this extra deck that you can then not put in here, like for example the Levelisk Ensemble Robin, which would normally be the card that you would make with 2 additional Purrely monsters, right? So if you have 2 Purrely monsters left that you don't need anymore, you can go ahead and make either a Levelisk Assembled Nightingale or the Ensemble Robin to 2 times in a row bounce back a special summon monster to your opponent's hand. So to understand, firstly, that the Ghostrick package here, or the Ghostrick combo, is only available to you once you have additional stuff on the field. So if, for example, you get interrupted by your opponent's hand traps, then normally you won't be able to get a Purrely black and 2 Purrely whites on the field, because obviously, let's say you have none of them in your starting end, so none of them is a normal summon, then you would need triple quick play spells in your hand and 3 additional cards to discard in order to even get to 1 black cat and 2 white cats. And this is why I say that with the Ghostrick stuff, I really like the Dark World stuff, because you want more cards in your your hands, because you need more cards in your hands. In order to access your Ghostrick stuff, you definitely need to get more cats onto the field, which needs you to have more stuff in hand. So if you're playing a bigger Dark World package, that normally means that you are playing a smaller hand trap package. So this is the advantage and disadvantage of playing a bigger Dark World package versus a hand trap package. So this is the first thing that needs to be said about the Ghostrick variant. Then of course, if you can establish the Utopic Draco Future together with an X Purrely Noir, that makes your endboard even safer and makes your endboard even stronger. Though most of the time it will be enough if you have your X Purrely Noir to stop your opponent, to slow him down, and then to win the game on consecutive turns. In my opinion, I would say that the cool thing about the Ghostrick variant is that you only need, for example, this one additional spell card in your main deck. I definitely think the Ghostrick variant would be way worse if we would need to add like a lot of other cards to the main deck. But this is not the case. We only need one card to make all of this work, which is very nice. This is a big upside for this package here. And then also in the extra deck, we need basically 5 slots, which is definitely a lot. But as you can see right here, there's no problem fitting in these 5 slots here. You have to forego cards like the Robin here or the Promethean Princess Sprite, which can we find a list where this one is in there? Yeah, the Promethean or Sylvian Princess Sprite. This one you can also play. And for example, stuff like the Azalea and a big Zeus package is something that you would most likely not be able to play in here. You can see they fit the Azalea in here, but then can't fit any of the other ones in here. Though it makes sense, I guess. If you were playing the Ghostrick package, then you would never summon the Sylvan Princess Sprite, you would never summon the Nightingale, even though the Nightingale can be quite nice in specific situations where you need to survive, but you would, for example, also never summon the Libellusk Ensemble Roblin. So in the sense of taking space from the extra deck, this also works. So it works in the sense of the main deck, it works in the sense of the extra deck. The only thing that I am questioning here is, how often will you really get to this? Obviously, if you have a good hand and your opponent doesn't interrupt you, then you could get to this, because also sometimes you just can't summon multiple cats, right? So let's say, for example, in order to summon multiple cats, you would need to discard your, I don't know, infinite impermanences or your maxis. Is that something that you want to do then? Do you want to like discard, let's say, 1 maxi and 1 infinite impermanence in order to summon 2 additional white cats in order to go into Utopic Draco Future? 2 hand traps for 1 Utopic Draco Future? I don't know if that's worth it, in my opinion. So I'm really questioning, and you can let me know in the comments if you have played this variant a lot, where it lies on the consistency side of getting to your Utopic Draco Future stuff here, but I am questioning how often you will really get to this. And so my final opinion, I guess, is that in the end, I would guess that the pure version is a bit better, just because the main play that you are doing with the pure version is just most of the time enough to stop your opponent and win the game. And if your opponent stops you early and you can only get to a little X Purrely Noir, then you would also not have gotten to like a big Purrely. There will be times in which you have a lot of additional summons and in which you will end up with 2 white cats. And in that case, this package would have been way nicer. I do think that this is not that often, which is also why I think the pure version might be a bit better, even though you could also argue that putting all of these stuff in here doesn't really cost you much, because the slots in the extra deck aren't that important and the 1 slot in the main deck is also not that important. So what you have to understand about these 2 variants in terms of which can make the stronger board, the Ghostrick variant is definitely stronger, but in terms of which is like more consistent in the short term, this would be the pure version. Especially this is what I said before, I think if you play the Ghostrick version, then it's also nice to have more Dark World cards in here, just to be able to have more stuff that you can discard, because you will need to discard more in order to get to your additional cats, right? So this is what I think about these lists here. I would say if you have the pure list already and you don't want to invest additional resources, then don't go for this package. You definitely don't need this to climb to Master 1. I do understand the sentiment in the Duelist Cup if you want to finish your games faster with the Utopic Draco Future, which is obviously able to really end the game faster than only an X Purrely Noir would. This I can understand, because in the Duelist Cup, time is money, you could say. But other than that, I think this package is not needed, also not super cheap. So if you already have the base version, you can definitely stay with this one. Could also try out the Ghostrick version. But I think both of them are not too far apart in terms of power level. You could definitely make arguments for the one being better. You could make arguments for the other one being better. But I would say all in all, the Ghostrick package is not super needed. So if you can't afford it, you don't have to worry. But let me know in the comments, maybe you have played Ghostrick Purrely a lot. Let me know in the comments what you think of this thing here. Thanks for being here. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell. And we will see each other in the next one.